today. May the first be with you. This is ChillPoint.
First?
The first.
The,
It works. It works.
I mean, I suppose.
That's what they say in that famous movie, Lord of the Rings.
Is it in the extended versions? Because I think I've only seen the regular ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
in the,
So
like,
I missed that minute.
It's like with like Tom Bombadil and stuff. There's like, it's one of those things that people don't really remember that much.
Yeah, did that character also bomb when they told that joke? Everybody else in the scene just looked at them like, what's going on?
Yeah, it didn't. It didn't fly.
What you doing on your phone, buddy?
I bought some video games.
I thought you were doing that last night.
I did buy some.
Then
video
why are you
games.
doing it now?
Just cleaning up my email.
There's too many deals on video games. They won't let us rest.
Put it away.
The problem actually is that like right now, or I should say, as of May 30th, as of April 30th, there was a massive sale on the Nintendo eShop for like a ton of different games, and for several of which I was interested in buying.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't interested. I wasn't interested in opening my wallet, but I was interested in buying the games. This is a very weird kind of thing to navigate. And just out of nowhere last night, I got an email from or a notification from Deku Deals, the app that Heather told me to start using to track sales on the eShop, that said, "Hey, Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties physical edition has just dropped in price from $89.99 to $49.99." And at that point, I was like, "Well, from where?" Because I think I'm in. And it was from P&P Games, which I think is like out east, because they're always out east. No matter what, they're always out east. And it could be the Quebecois. No, Video Games Plus is the Quebecois one. I think P&P is in a different. Did you
find because I know your problem was you were $15 under for the free shipping. So did you find a solution to that problem?
I did. I bought Yakuza Kiwami 2 on a game key card, which was $50.
I thought you owned that one already.
No, I own Yakuza Kiwami for the Switch. Thank you for getting that for me.
Okay.
Because that I think was like a limited run special or some shit like that. And I own Yakuza 0, which I spent full fucking money on when it came out, because I was like, well, I better get this now before they run out of game key cards, because then they'll never be able to buy it. And it just dropped in price the same night from $70 to $40, and I was like, oh. But,
yeah,
but
Sega games you can count on dropping in price.
And so I'm like, okay, so don't let that go. And I needed to make up $15 in order to actually get free shipping, and I thought, you know what, I'll just buy the Yakuza Kiwami 2 on a game key card just because I want to play that, and it hasn't dropped in price at all.
The old spend $50 to get free shipping trick.
Yeah, exactly. I do get a video game out of it as opposed to like some.
Sometimes
bullshit,
I've just looked at what like the shipping is, because sometimes if it's like, oh, if you spend $15 more, you could get free shipping, or shipping's only like another like $10.
Yes.
I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe it's okay if I just spend $10 on shipping, like, especially if you can't find another item.
And I know this goes against my entire thing of like, don't buy any more video games until you're done playing Blueprints, because you know at least you got like another year worth of fucking around in that trying to figure shit out.
I didn't realize that was your thing.
Well, right, it's
what he keeps saying. I'm not really sure where this attitude came from.
Stack slowly building up over time, and I was like, what do I do?
Yeah, that being your thing, your absolute.
My lodestone or whatever you call it. Yeah,
it was weird for all the years before Blueprints had actually come out.
Yeah,
we were like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yes. I don't know what this is that you keep saying, and it's like, no. In another 8 years, this guy's going to release a video game. It's going to like change a whole bunch of people's lives, because they're going to go absolutely fucking insane trying to finish this game.
You don't have to keep going if you're fine.
Finish.
You know, like you hit an ending.
I feel like I'm getting so close.
Yeah?
Yeah. I have 6 more crates to remove from a tunnel. And if I do that, something might happen.
If I do that, I'll finally learn the secret.
Maybe. I don't know. The game keeps letting me take crates out of a tunnel, and I'm like, yes, I will do that until they are all gone, and then maybe something will happen.
You're just gonna end up finding like a little puzzle box that gives you like +2 to your allowance or something.
Probably,
dumb.
yeah. We'll see.
Or maybe the answer to a puzzle that you already knew the answer to.
Yeah, here's the code to one of the safes.
There's stuff in the game that I'm like, if this doesn't if this doesn't pay out the way that I expect it to, then I've either read too much into some puzzles, or there are disagreements within certain logs in the game that don't get along with each other. And I'm like, oh, now I'm pissed off because now these two things don't make any sense.
Anyway, hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to ChillPoint, show where we talk about video game news.
And crates.
And yeah, I mean, what Beej has been buying is related to video game news.
Yeah.
Well, it's personal news.
I bought 2 video games.
Okay.
I mean, I bought 2 plastic things that say they're a video game.
I guess your game dance card is like full for like the next 3 years.
Sea of Sorrow has to come out still, remember? Like, I
know,
might finish Blueprints and Sea of Sorrow comes out, and then I'm really screwed.
You know, it's okay if you don't play Silk Song.
I know.
I know how angry it makes you.
Yeah. But I do want to see what the DLC is going to be like. So.
We haven't gotten news on that. Although
No.
I did see that they're doing Muse Dash 2 in December.
Muse Dash?
It's a rhythm game.
Oh.
This one has multiplayer.
Ooh. So let's talk about video game news from this week, as well as the episode of ChillPoint.
All right.
We didn't do Checkpoint this week, did we?
We did.
Nah. I don't remember putting anything up.
And it was very funny.
Was it?
Starting with
No, there were lines that made me laugh. That's fair.
talking about the new union from in Wizard of the Coast.
Unions are hilarious.
The MTG Arena team has unionized. So it is important to talk to mention that in most of the cases when we're talking about unions within especially video game companies, but it's not the entirety of WotC unionizing. In this case, it is a part of a team, and the way
a video game development part of the team. Yeah,
and the way sort of Hasbro and WotC sort of segregates things, it's possible that they're not. I don't know. I don't actually know where physically the arena team is.
Yeah,
I don't think they know physically either.
Some of them are working remote, but I
thought a lot of them.
Well,
were
that's
working remote.
that's one of the things is that they've been WotC's been pushing for back to work in the office, back to the office stuff, which the arena team is not a big fan of.
No, I don't think anyone should be a fan of going back to the office if you don't need to.
It's true.
No real.
I mean, especially when you're when you're producing a digital product.
Well, I mean, the way I see it is in an industry where if you have to move to a specific city to work on a video game because you have to go into the office in an industry that is just going to lay you off in 5 months, that's not a fair thing to do.
Especially since a lot of the time they're not providing moving allowances.
Yeah,
and
there's
stuff
that too. It's just not.
So basically, like you're saying, and what it says in the union sort of whatever proposal, I don't know what you call it, whatever their sort of initial explanation as to why what they are concerned about is that in a lot of cases these return to office things are effectively layoffs because if you are somewhere where you can't easily move, then they're like, but I believe for legal reasons they're not considered layoffs. Yeah, they're like, well, you quit then. Yeah, which is super awkward and nasty. Anyway, so this is now the sort of important part about this is there's a petition that they set up to that people can sign to sort of encourage WotC to officially recognize the union. That, and they have, I'm not entirely sure what all the legal steps are going through, but as Graham talked about in the after show a little bit, WotC has now responded with a very sort of boilerplate. We see that this happened. We will be in discussions with them, kind of thing, which is not obviously not like the best possible result, but it's about what you would expect from a large company, and it's not a bad result, which is encouraging.
Yeah.
Apparently, they have enlisted a law firm that is known for not being super. Is known for sort of being that
antagonistic.
Well, one that companies do when they are when they are being antagonistic toward unions. But then again, I don't know if there are a lot of law firms that are like, you and get this law firm if you want your employees to make a union.
It's a very interesting idea.
So, I don't know.
Of like, if a bunch of people stand up, I'm not going to see just a bunch of people. If a supermajority of your workers in a certain area all stand up and say, hey, you know what? We all signed a union card. Like, we all decided that we want to belong to a union together.
Apparently a supermajority.
Yeah. So you have that many people. Let's assume that 70% of that workforce in that area all said, you know what? We all talked to each other. We all signed a card that says, we pledge to join a union. That's what we want to do. You have that thing there. It's a weird position to be in, where it's like, well, what we're going to do as the company is that what we can do as the company is we'll just go to court and we'll sue all of you. We'll countersue. We'll do whatever it is. We'll get it basically into a place in front of some person in a black robe and make an argument that you shouldn't allow them to justify, like, you shouldn't allow, let's say it's like 70 people, right? You shouldn't allow 70 people to decide how it is that they want to do their job. We decide how it is that they have to do their job. And that they don't have any say in what goes on in their job because now they work for us and they don't have any say anymore in that.
Well, so, yeah. I mean...
It feels weird, right?
Well, I think the trick is that, like, there's at this level, like, a law firm is not necessarily like you hire the law firm because you're going to sue somebody.
No.
There's all sorts of things that law firms do other than actual going into court. Lots of, document. And to give, a very, very small amount of benefit of the doubt, the relationship between, WotC and the union would require WotC to enlist that is a legal thing that that lawyers would have to be involved in that, regardless of whether it is something that they are super stoked about or not.
Yeah, but
or
then
something that they are trying to stop.
But once you have a union, it's like you don't need that law firm per se anymore to be a part of that process. You can have an internal bargaining committee that can work on behalf of the company. So this whole thing about in the setup is there's a lot of reasons to be like, oh, that's like we worry about this. Maybe we don't need to. Not everybody. We don't all need to worry so hard. And obviously, there's the thing of, well, the back channel stuff of if we can chip away at enough people who sign those cards to basically go back on what they just said, then this will never happen. And I don't know. I feel like economic situations being dire at this point for a lot of people. I think a lot more people are kind of stiffening their back and being like, somebody's got to stand up and say, we need this for the ability to be able to keep doing our jobs properly. And
I mean, yeah,
that's we're
the
all
hope,
hoping that
but
this goes through, right?
Well, and it's and to be clear, I see some people being like, why do a union? It's a union. Why do they need to recognize it? Like, why do they have a choice? Why does WotC sort of have a choice?
Yeah,
and it's not necessarily like it's whether the WotC, because of course, forming the union is great.
Yeah,
but that's not the goal. Like, the goal is that the union can then go do the negotiations and stuff.
Yeah.
Forming the union doesn't actually do anything. It's the fact that the union now can do the negotiations and stuff. And
exactly.
Those negotiations could take a long time. So
Yep.
it's not necessarily what, we won't necessarily see the end result of this for quite a while.
Yeah.
And so, but in order to do that negotiation, there has to be, the company has to acknowledge that the union has the authority to do that, and they can do that voluntarily, or there are systems in place to where you can actually like sue the company and stuff, and that's when it gets super ugly. And we've seen both of those situations happen in the last little while. With video game companies and unions being, and then there's the other thing where the union gets created, and then they have to actually do negotiation. And the negotiation goes on for a year, and nothing happens, and then you actually have the work slowdowns or strikes or all that stuff, which is no good for anybody.
Yep.
So, anyway. But we shall see what happens with this. But yeah, as Nelson said in this story, we wish them hello and good luck.
Yes.
And yeah, I hope what they're doing is successful, because I'm sure it will. If it is successful, it will result in, employees that are not worrying so much about their current working circumstances, and from a purely practical, pragmatic standpoint, on my side, it's employees that aren't worrying about their circumstances are going to create a better product.
Yeah.
And I want Arena to be a better product. So aside from the actual, ethical benefits, it also has a practical benefit.
Yeah.
I think that's so anyway. Let's move on
To happier news.
like caskets for like Mario, Luigi, and
Toad and Peach.
and Yoshi.
Oh, right.
Or I believe in the video, there's like AI voice, whatever, over AI voiceover in the video, and it's like Luigi.
Luigi. Because this is happening. This is happening in a not primarily English speaking country, I think. Right?
This
It's
is
in
Brazil.
Brazil.
This is in Brazil.
I mean, depending on where that video is, because YouTube has that auto voice thing that's just
Yeah, it might be just like auto translate.
it's so awful.
There's a lot of this that smacks of, hey, we painted Winnie the Pooh on the windows of our daycare, and then Disney comes along and says you can't do that.
I mean, we haven't had that part yet.
Yeah, we haven't had that part yet.
That we've heard of.
But I'm just saying that a lot of this smacks of that, and also the fact that it's like these coffins are not sized for children; they're apparently also sized for full size for adults.
Yeah, and I was actually wondering about that when I first saw it, maybe
those pictures.
Maybe it wasn't clear. Thor Sokar was saying that, and maybe it wasn't clear. I thought it was clear from the pictures, but because there's one thing that has like a guy standing beside it, and it is a full size coffin.
Yeah.
And they show you can have there's whatever like red and pink and green, but then you can have different logos put onto it depending on what you want to do. What about there's no like where's the yellow Wario one?
Oh yeah.
And,
why isn't there a Wario coffin?
And the purple Waluigi one.
Waluigi one, that would be very good. Yeah. I don't know. I saw my grandfather for his cremation that he had. They built him a pine box, like they're practically right.
They burned the box along with the
exactly.
things, so they're not gonna. If it's got like metals and plastics and stuff, that's not gonna go.
Yeah,
through.
but it did definitely strike me as interesting. That was like this box. It's comprised of. It also looked an awful lot more like it was plywood and pine as opposed to or like MDF and pine. And I was kind of like, "Ooh, that's all that MDF." Like, but
sometimes they even MDF? Just use like a cardboard.
Yeah, in some cases box, too, right? And it just kind of when I saw that, I was like, "Well, his remains are being burnt up, and that makes sense. You wouldn't want to put a big fancy thing in with rails and filigree and whatever else in there as well. But it just also kind of made sense to my point of view of like, why would you paint and lacquer and make this beautiful presentation piece? In a lot of those cases, it really struck me as that seems like a big fucking waste to just put in the ground like that.
I mean, first they generally have it at a funeral,
Yeah.
where people see the box.
Yeah.
If it's not open,
Yeah.
they just see the box.
The funeral industry is weird.
It is weird.
You know, there's all whatever nice upholstery on the inside, and pillows,
silk
and so forth.
Well, satin probably more than silk, but yeah, all these beautiful accoutrements to kind of give you a sense of ceremony and finality, and kind of feel like, you can feel good because your loved one is being represented in a way that makes them look fancy.
Well, that depends. I mean, your loved one may have put all of these things in the will to say,
true.
Please make me sit in
Already
a Mario
bought all
coffin.
this shit. Yeah.
Don't put me in a Mario coffin.
No. Me
In fact,
neither.
don't bury me near my parents.
Okay.
Just throw me in the ocean or something.
Oh, burial at sea. Interesting idea. I didn't consider that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a cremation. I think that it seems like a pretty solid,
Yeah.
You can't become a zombie if you're cremated.
Sky
Exactly.
burial is an interesting thing that I've read about. Where I'm like, I'm not so hot on that idea.
I mean, I guess you get eaten by stuff, which is, go
Yeah.
back to the land and all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't really know what you're supposed to like. I don't really know what I like. What it comes down to is like, cremation sounds pretty good, but also, the water burial thing sounds interesting too. And it was like, they give you a little bottle of water you can pretend to hear.
In my research, or not research, but like in my just sort of dabbling in things, because I'm interested in, shanties and seafaring and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a common thing that often sailors explicitly don't want to be buried at sea because they sort of they see what happens to people when they fall overboard. It's like not a good scene.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I guess the trick is like, where do you want your remains scattered? Because you're not going to be a zombie.
Yeah.
But let's assume you might be a ghost.
And
I don't know how far you can go as a ghost. So like, where do you want to haunt?
That's a good point. It would suck to be a ghost like in a graveyard.
Yeah.
Because there's like nothing
so noisy with so many other ghosts.
And there's like nothing interesting there.
It's just a bunch of old people complaining about their hips.
You can only read
that they don't even have anymore.
You can only read the headstones so many times, and we don't let people just go hang out in graveyards anymore. Like you used to be able to do that, right? Like a graveyard was treated like a public park.
There was no nearby graveyard where I grew up to just hang out in. What was your childhood like?
No, I mean like back in the 1800s or whatnot, they were essentially also treated like public parks. They're like quiet places to go that sit in contemplation. But you could also have like
we used to have Pokestops there.
You could have picnics and shit. Like people got up to stuff and I mean apart from like the occasional like.
I mean they do here. They have like a little kind of graveyard area, but it's more of like a tourist attraction. Different
graveyards are set up differently.
Yeah. I really like the idea of having like, well, if you're going to have this place, you should do. Kyle Kinane made a great point that he's like, there's all these graveyards that we're slowly are filling up, and we also have all these golf courses. And if you just thought about combining the two, you might have a very interesting new sport on your hand. There's a very good bit that he did. I really liked it.
I just think we really need to think hard about where we want to be haunting.
You like golf? No.
I mean,
you like pinball? Yes.
I mean, haunting a golf course would be kind of fun.
Golf course could be fun. Yeah. I mean,
there's probably a lot of people
like,
on a golf course deserving of being
There's so
haunted.
many warnings about please don't scatter ashes at Disneyland that Disneyland's just too full of ghosts already.
It would be like a goddamn ashtray. If you let people scatter their ashes at Disneyland,
I mean,
you'd be walking in like Krakatoa. It would be terrible.
They do. People go and do it on rides and stuff.
They do it secretly?
Yeah.
Well, it gets caught on camera. But what I'm saying is that place is already full of ghosts.
I'm just imagining somebody like, Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
Like going on a thing and getting the picture taken right as there's like a huge plume of smoke.
Yeah, just coming
of
out of
dust
the thing.
coming out of their urn. They're like, oh no.
If it was me, I'd be like if it was kind of me looking after that part of Disney, I'd be like, okay, look, we can, for a fee, we will have a place where you can go lay your loved ones to rest, like if they're cremated, right? That you can drop off little reliquaries or whatever if you want to as well, and we'll have a whole kind of space built that's very nice and fun and respectful and Disney themed and whatever, but it is only open to people wanting to kind of enshrine their shit there. And once you have done that, you don't really get to come back and see it all the time. Like, it's like you have chosen to do this thing, everything's gone into the Disney vault, and you just kind of leave it there.
Is that what the Disney
That's all
vault
the
is?
Disney vault is. Yeah. A bunch of
Oh,
planters
no.
where you can like put in a teaspoon of somebody's ashes and stuff and be like, that'll also help the plants grow, I think. I'm not really sure what happens when you
If
burn
you
people
spread the
up, so-
ashes in that way, like if you put like a few over, like I don't know if you take a pile of ashes and you spread it out into many very far away locations, I don't know if that means that as a ghost you can teleport among those, or if in like one spot you're being haunted by a ghost arm and then like another one has your ghost foot.
I mean, we get to write the rules about how ghosts work.
I don't think we do. I think the ghosts do.
Well, I've seen so many things that are like, oh, the ghost is tied to this earthly realm, but they can run around the city all they want. Or where it's like, oh, this girl died, mysterious circumstances outside of the high school, but she's tied to the high school for some reason, like that kind of stuff. And it's like, right, everyone gets to decide how their ghost situation works. So I think you just get to decide how your ghost
I'm
situation
not
works.
sure you do.
It's a tricky one.
I think you have to talk to some local ghosts.
The ghost has to believe in what they can do. I think you have to.
I
make
mean, a lot of them
ghost-
have to be really angry because then they can't move on.
I mean, yeah, I always like that in the
Well, just regrets, not
the-
anger.
in the Discworld.
Same
You know,
thing.
what happens to you after you die is whatever you think will happen to you.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's really good. I told my friends that one time. They're like, "So what do you think?" And I says, "I think whatever happens is, what you
You really
want."
upset one of your friends doing that.
I did. He was kind of like,
was-
"That doesn't." But we have a whole system and
he was
ethos.
very,
and I'm like,
he was very upset at the idea that you said that if he wanted, when he was dead,
if person
for-
A passes away
for
and he wants to see
you-
person B,
for all of your friends to be in the same place as him,
yeah.
and you were like, "Well, I don't believe in that," so. And he was like, "But then you're not going to be there." And you're like, "No, a version of me will be there." And
Yeah.
he got really upset.
And he did until I'd said to him, I'm like, the version of that person, the version of person B that you are experiencing at all times is your reality of who you know this person to be. You don't know 100% about them, but that person will be there because it's your recollections and your understanding of who these people are will be there for you. And who is not to say that maybe a part of everybody's soul is actually the part are made up of what everybody else experiences of your soul.
Ooh.
Right? Maybe that's what makes part of your soul is how everybody else also experiences your soul. That I don't know if that comes up much too often in theology, but I think that is an interesting idea too.
Just
to be
remember
like,
him getting incredibly upset.
the part that you put yourself out there for other people to experience is the part that also becomes a part of you too.
I don't know that we should all belong to
Video
you.
game news.
No, I don't think all of us should belong to the band U2. That seems stressful.
On that note,
Uh-huh.
let's talk about Mike Ybarra.
Yeah, the part of yourself that you put out there for everyone to experience is
Yeah.
part of your own soul.
Yeah, he certainly put a part of himself out on X, the everything app. His ass.
No.
Twitter,
X,
the everything shit. Yeah,
X, Twitter and the everything shit.
yeah.
Right.
Which is what we should call it from now on.
I kind of love there's this kind of stable of guys who were high up, were prominent developers or prominent at a developing game development company that have retired or moved on to other things, but they're sort of known as being kind of outspoken, blowhard kind of types.
Reggie.
You got Reggie, Mike Ybarra. As we were talking about the
Man whose name we can never remember, but he was involved in Fallout,
God of War.
God of War, David Jaffe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jaffe. There's a few. There's quite a few of these guys that have been kind of. They've sort of become known as a guy that you can get a quote from Like if you've got anything, if any kind of story comes out involving whatever,
Right.
involving, it's like, okay, Microsoft's involved in this story. I bet Mike Ybarra's got to have something to say.
These aren't even people you have to ask questions, though. They'll just put their quotes out for free.
I mean, that's the thing. This, this was not solicited.
It's more like, I would say, if you've ever been curious because somehow you have never run across a person who makes their entire entity a thing. Well, there are examples on the internet, like this dude.
Yeah. And I mentioned Reggie off the top because it's like we kind of fell into a thing with Reggie Fils-Aime where it's like we didn't know what to make of him. He was this marketing guy who came to Nintendo. Nobody knew his name or what he did because he's just a suit, right? That's kind of the thing. But he kind of made himself a meme pretty fast, or people established memes about him pretty fast, that he was like, well, that's how this marketing stuff works, is that if there's a brand that I can exploit that is also tied back to the company I represent, then so much the better. Like if that's going to be my wedge in there to kind of get people to talk about the company, then that's who I can be in that regard. But you've read the book and like his book, and you've told me that it's like, when it comes right down to it, Reggie is not Mr. Nintendo. Reggie is Mr. Reggie.
He's just a PR dude.
Yeah,
and heavily a PR dude.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's going to work for whoever he's going to work for, and it's like he got stratospheric publicity out of working for Nintendo because nobody's going to give a shit about the Bigfoot pizza at Pizza Hut as much as they're going to give a shit about him working for Nintendo and becoming widely known, and then people will say, hey, Reggie, you got a quote about what's going on at Nintendo at this point? And he's got to be like, I guess, I have feelings about this. And so...
I mean, I would say Reggie, and maybe this is misplaced, but he feels he's been a lot more... It seems like he's been more... restrained, I guess, about his sort of post Nintendo.
He does the occasional post where he makes a joke about having a copy of
Mother 3
or whatever, and things like that. I think that's fine.
But he doesn't trash talk when Nintendo
he doesn't
does
generally
something.
trash talk stuff. His thing was, I think he retired. He's still kind of involved with some video game related PR stuff in helping people and teaching and whatnot, and that's fine.
Yeah, we have a problem.
Most of the time, I think people actually seek quotes out from him.
Yeah,
which again is still different.
We have a problem where we're like, humans just have a problem where it's like when you have a chief, right? When you have somebody you've established as a captain of industry, that's your chief of your tribe, and you're like, well, even when the chief is now retired, everyone's going to listen to the new chief, and they're going to be like, and they're all going to turn back to look at the old chief and be like, and is the old chief going to nod his head? And the old chief nods his head, and everyone's like, thank Christ, and they all go on with their day, right?
Well,
there is a problem that I think that we have as people where it's like we are not willing to give up a famous, like a well-known famous person that we've established as the voice of X until they die, in which case it's like, then you'll ask, well, what does Steve Jobs think about this?
I think it basically, especially when it comes to video game people, it's you want to hear what they have to say, especially if you agree with them and they agree with you.
Yeah, well, and that's another problem humans have.
And it's especially these guys who have now, who are who have moved on from wherever their sort of big prominent thing was.
Yeah.
Is this idea that it's like, okay, so here's a guy who's got a bunch of inside knowledge, but now is not beholden to shareholders or
having to keep his job.
Having to keep his job. So, he's going to give the straight goods.
Yeah.
And often there is some interesting insights there because they sort of know what they were doing.
Yeah.
But, then again, as
knowledge ages, right? At some point you're like, I don't represent the point and the peak of what's going on in the industry.
Things change.
Yeah.
So if a person no longer works at a company, for the first couple of years, like especially for video games, they probably know a bunch of projects that might have been worked on.
Yeah, or they might know the processes of the company
on their position within the company, right? And then but most of that stuff they're probably going to be under NDA for anyway. And then by the time 20 years pass and you still have people being like, oh, well, what do they do? Whatever thing.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, well, they might not do it that way anymore.
Yeah.
What
And-
you know is a snapshot of a time.
Well, yeah, and also there's especially you see this with Mike Ybarra and some other, especially the sort of CEO types. There's you start seeing a lot of this like, well, when I was there,
Yes.
we never would have done this.
No.
And then of course, it was nice to see people hitting back at him, being like,
Well, thank Christ you aren't there anymore.
or just is just like well, when I was there, or what they need to do is really completely or reorganize the team, and there people are like, you were there, why didn't you do that?
yeah. Yeah.
or the big problem is they've got a real big QA problem. It's like, maybe you shouldn't have laid off 1,900 people
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
before you left.
So, like, another thing, when you hear people say statements like, oh, well, I would never have done it that way, it's usually after they're seeing the result of something, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, yes, that company, that person would also not have done it that way if they had known it would go that way.
Right. The hindsight is all. It's,
it's like,
it's
oh,
effectively
wow.
just doing the armchair quarterbacking thing,
Yeah.
right?
It's irritating.
Why didn't
I think
you just score more goals?
I think it's
Yeah.
irritating in a way because like the more kind of outgoing and especially it's like, dude, you're not part of that company anymore. You work for this different company, and which is in a different industry. And on top of that, you work in an industry that's predatory in a whole new interesting way.
He works for a sports betting app. By
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah,
We're not going to say which one.
Somebody in the comments said that he still plays a lot of WoW. Like he's part of a guild and like,
Great.
all these other things, which is why he might have these opinions. And I'm like, nah, I mean,
I
Sure,
play a
yeah.
lot of Super Mario Brothers, and Nintendo's not busting down my door to ask me questions about what to do with the next game.
again,
Like,
no one's busting down Mike's door
No.
to ask him what to do with
I
their
was-
game.
No.
I was going to say, I feel like
I also don't play a lot of Super Mario Brothers anyway.
I
At
mean,
least pick a thing you're doing.
considering what we are literally doing right now.
Yes.
We don't have a huge leg to stand on
No.
in terms of giving unsolicited advice.
Absolutely.
But anyway,
But
I
I
mean,
mean,
we're-
Ecklenar sums it up, right? If it were me, I would simply do it right, and that's
Yeah.
that's again. When I keep saying humans have a problem, there's that built in as well.
I object to the idea that I ever give advice. Everybody knows I just give out lies.
That's true.
Please and thank you.
so anyway, what this story is that so WoW has been on a kind of a new release cadence
Okay.
in the last little while. They've been going quite fast on releases, and they've been doing sort of, I think it's every 8 weeks or something. They've been doing not a full release, but or not a
Like
full
expansions,
not a full
DLC.
expansion, but they've been sort of committing to doing like a patch with actual new content in it every very short amount of times, every
Yeah.
certain number of weeks, and they've been, they were like, when they started on this, they were like, this is our new plan. We want to make it clear this is, there's not going to be any difference in, QA or how, they're going to be just as high quality as they ever were, but we're going to have this thing. There's some arguments that perhaps that has not happened.
Well, I mean, what is it? Fast, quality,
Fast, cheap,
or
or good.
Fast, cheap, and good.
Yeah.
fast, cheap, and good. You only get two.
Yeah.
And you're lucky if you get those.
So there's been some relatively, for instance, like this latest expansion, Nightmare, I think it's called, has been quite well received. It's got some neat stuff in it.
And
But
people do like prop hunts.
but the latest patch to the expansion, Midnight, sorry, that's it. Yeah. The latest patch to this expansion added some stuff, and yeah, it's got some serious bugs and some serious just kind of clearly not tested things.
Yes.
Like
Some very good, like,
I don't know.
synergistic bugs.
I
Like,
think-
some stuff
I
where it's
think-
like, wow.
I think being timed out for hiding because you didn't move.
for sitting still. Yeah,
It's really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
clearly not funny for the people who are trying to play. But
And having a thing where, the hunters, which, they have an ability that highlights player characters,
Yep.
which is a thing they've had forever. But they not realizing that would also interact with the prop hunt thing. Yeah. And basically, apparently, big shout out to Ben Ulmer, who he's a WoW player, and he kind of put me onto this story. He was like, "Oh, are you doing a story about the WoW thing?" And I was like, "What's the WoW thing?" And he was talking about like that it got to the point where hunters you would go into the prop hunt thing, and it would just be like all hunters.
Yes.
And they would just basically be trading wins. Like they'd be just like, I'll win this one, you win the next, and just to get like the maximum amount of
I see.
because there's like points and resources and stuff you get from winning it.
It's not just for fun. There's gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then yes, there's some great object descriptions that
Clearly have been generated by something.
Hopefully AI generated.
Yeah.
well, I don't know. I mean, it did read a lot like how you see weird
Maybe just
English
poorly-
translations for like stuff that you get that are clearly like
Maybe
from China or whatever.
poorly translated. Yeah.
So, I mean, it could be, but I don't know. I don't like. I understand AI is like in way too many things, and we need to get rid of it. But I also think that it's really easy to just say, "Well, this thing's garbage, and therefore AI did it."
It's
and
true.
That happens a lot to things that are
regular
not.
people do
So
also produce.
we also
garbage
make
content.
garbage on our own.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
I would like to be able to claim the garbage that I've made. That's all.
I remember I think I said it before, but it's gotten to the point where when I'm doing graphics where I have to like catch myself every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because I'll be like looking for a graphic about, something. I'm like, I need a stock photo of just sort of to illustrate a general point. And I think there was one that I was doing that was like people being like mad at their computer. And the stock photo I found was like a guy with the head of a computer, like a CRT for a head. And then like somebody else was like, rah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a fun image. And I'm like, oh, wait, no. Oh, it's probably AI generated.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then I like, no, wait a minute. It's just Photoshop. Like,
We used to be a society.
Yeah, we could make stupid pictures.
Yeah.
Because there's the whole like, oh, it's got M dashes in it, and therefore it's
Yeah.
AI. I've seen, I hang out on Bookstagram way too much, but I've seen a number of posts that will show you a book of like Charles Dickens and be like, man, I can't believe this author's using AI.
There's
Because there's
he's
M dashes
M-dashes.
like everywhere. There's a use for M dashes.
Yeah.
There truly is.
the description, the text description really set me off because it starts, I believe, with
The first thing you need to know when investigating a ritual site.
yes. So that I have a real like about that kind of language because doing improv comedy, you have to shed that. You have to shed that kind of thing. The first thing we need to do is the first thing you do when this. What I want us to do is let me explain the steps on what it is we're about to do in this scene. Like that kind of thing of where you're in the middle of a scene and then you take somebody aside and say, okay, there's like a 6-point process I need you to follow. Like
Yeah,
that kind
I
of
get
stuff.
that.
We trying to shed that language of all you're doing is explaining what's about to happen, or you're basically saying, I'm going to lead you through the rest of the scene because now I have to get all of my shit out there, and that's going to keep you from being able
But
to
that's
contribute.
not really.
But that kind of language, when I see that, I'm like, oh, that's not what happens when you do a thing. I'm being told what I have to do, and I'm like, I hate this feeling.
But in a non-improv context,
Oh, I know.
when somebody is giving you instructions,
yes,
you want to be told what to do.
I want to be told all the steps, right? But it's like, having an item description being like the first thing you need to do when you go to a ritual thing, I'm like, oh, like it's like that should not, the item should not be describing a 6-point process on how to use it. It should be like this. It's for this. It's to do this. It has this function.
I mean, it's still, the wording is still not like what you would probably want for an item.
Yeah.
Yes, and I understand where you're.
I'm just saying it triggered a bunch of stuff in me that I was like, I hate this.
But you're still, there's a time and place for those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then the
also, it's very brave of you to tell the internet what makes you go bleh.
Yeah.
Now they're just going to do that to you all the time.
That's fine. I'm making them better. I'm making them better connoisseurs of improvised comedy and also script writing.
I don't think that's true.
So anyway, they're having, from what I understand, a lot of these issues have since been resolved. You know, they've been working hard to fix these things, and updating to fix some of the stuff. But anyway, so of course, yeah. So Mike Ybarra, you know, the thing, him being like, hey, they should, because apparently he's been pushing for like they should wipe and do WoW 2.0.
Thanks, former boss. Yeah.
Which, as somebody pointed out, that worked so well for Overwatch. That worked so well for Overwatch that they have now dropped the 2 from Overwatch and turned it back to calling it Overwatch 1 again. Yeah. Or not Overwatch 1.
I mean, for an MMO, usually it's more about you want to keep the people who are already there.
Yeah, that is a tough upgrade.
We have had even early, when these games were like an early on invention, where when they've done a 2, you have the people who just want to play the first one.
Yeah.
And trying to get them to go to the next one is harder.
Yeah, and I mean, WoW already has the like classic.
If you really want to start over, you just throw a moon at the place. You do a Final Fantasy 14. Give it a sad song, and everyone remembers that forever, and now you've started over.
And then
I think there's way more to it than that, but that's what I remember.
So no one really would have objected that much if he was just like, yeah, they should redo the whole thing or whatever. But the part that was particularly frustrating for everybody was him continuing. He posted quite a long, big thing because, of course, X doesn't have the limits on length of tweets anymore.
Yeah, it's really weird when you see screenshots of full tweets. They're just kind of like, who faked this? That's how I always feel. But
yeah, the CEO or the former CEO of a company that laid off 1,900 people before he retired or left, saying, you know what, making games is not for everybody. You have to give it a lot of your life. You have to love what you're doing because it becomes your life.
And then you have to let someone take it away from you.
And these teams, they're just maybe not dedicated enough.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that is such a toxic take.
That is such a, this.
Again, when someone lets their entire personality be a thing.
Game development is not going to space.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that.
I mean, it could be.
It's like the because we was it last week or the week before the Naughty Dog talking about Last of Us 2. They're like, we just decided that, you know, the kinds of games we want to make are the kinds of games that you just can't make without massive crunch.
Jesus Christ.
And you know, we tell people that up front, and if they don't want to. If that's not what they want to do, that's okay. You know, we'll write them a good letter of reference.
I cannot. Right, and that kind of attitude of just like, well, we've just decided that there's no way we could make this happen. Again, like we just saw Project Hail Mary, and it's like, you know, they were on a timeline in Project Hail Mary where they're like, we have to send people to space. Like, you got to get up there and do your thing, because like in 11 years' time is when you're going to arrive at the place you need to do shit, and we need to get you up in space now. So we have a very tight timeline, and people are going to have to crunch the shit out of this. I'm like, yeah, your game development is not healthcare. Game development is not the space program. There's so many things that the game development is not, in terms of
I mean,
urgency.
Yeah.
Healthcare providers shouldn't burn themselves out either.
No, but it's
No.
like, but when it comes down to it, it's like I need to have a surgeon in this room to operate on this person right fucking now. It's like, yeah, you kind of do, don't you? Like, there's the thing of there's a certain sort of people who like. There should be a lot of room in all of these industries for people to be like, man, I just want to show up and like fuck the dog for the day. I just don't want to like actually.
Do we have to use that phrase?
Screw the pooch.
That
I just want to spend a little time.
I am not familiar with that particular term
Fair.
of phrase.
I want to show up and eat spiders all day.
Okay,
I
take that one.
Yeah, I just want to show up and eat spiders today. I don't want to actually like. I don't feel like actually like accomplishing a whatever. And I'm like, right. There's a lot of service industry jobs that are like that. I'm sure working at Walmart, there's all sorts of cases where like I just want to show up and walk around and kind of like sweep my section, and I don't want to help anybody, and I don't want to have to restock things, and I just want to take it nice and easy today. And you kind of cross your fingers hoping that that's going to be the day you're going to have, right? It's like I just want to take it easy. And there's a lot of industries where you can't do that. Healthcare is one of them, but there's probably jobs within healthcare where it's like, I can take it a little easier today. I don't have to rush everything, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you are constantly in a state of crunch or in a state of sort of panic,
Yeah.
then something is going very wrong.
Yeah.
And hopefully,
Yeah, because like crunch is not supposed to be. They refer to it as like the death march, right? It's not supposed to last 2 years. It's not supposed to be whatever. It's supposed to be kind of the thing that it's like we have a week left, and if we just get like a little harder about this,
Then everybody can take a deep breath and
it's,
relax.
it's like
And it's-
when you're cramming for your study session for the next day at school, right?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
kind of thing, and then
And-
you're done. You're supposed to take a break.
and it's not because it's not stuff happens. Sometimes you got to work long hours. That happens. But the point is that that's not when that becomes the status quo is when things get very dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't like that. It's very that take is very well. If you were just as passionate as possible, you do like it's already bad enough when you learn the idea that no matter how hard you work, you still might not get the result that you want. Yes. Like that's already a really rough lesson, right? But to have somebody tell you that you failed because you weren't passionate enough.
Yeah.
And you're
coming
like
from
eat,
the
breathe,
From someone who doesn't even know your goddamn name.
Yeah.
and
it's
coming
just
from
like
the friggin' CEO.
Yeah.
Bet he knocked off at 5:00.
Oh yeah, absolutely, right? There's probably days he didn't even come into work. There's all sorts of shit where you put a phrase in my mind when you said what you just said, and now I can't remember what it is, and that has made bad radio. Damn it. I had a whole thing I was going to pivot to, and it's gone now. Never mind.
I mean, I do come into work sometimes, and I do minimum.
Yeah.
I call it a minimum day, or I know I've had some friends who call them. Some people will use the stoplight method.
Yeah.
So you'll refer to that day as like a yellow light day. You have just enough energy to get through what you're doing. If it's a red light day, you're screwed. You're just not going anywhere. But I like having the minimum days, the days where you come in, you're like, okay, if I could just get this one thing done, I can knock off.
Yeah.
Because I can do the rest of the stuff tomorrow.
And there's context switching to take into account with a lot of jobs too, right? Like it's like if you're doing nothing but coding all day, then you can maybe stay in a flow state and you can kind of continue to do that. But when you got to be like, I'm going to code for an hour and then I'm going to stop that and then I'm going to like, and then I have to be on a podcast or then I have to go run the tech for Friday Night Paper Fight, right? It's like Paul has to do a whole bunch of code switching all day, and that's hard to keep. It's hard to be like productive in all of those things, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's a different. You have to sort of keep in mind
some
different
people
things.
prefer that.
Yeah.
Some people work better if they're constantly switching.
But it's also like it can be exhausting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Are you mentally exhausted, Paul? Or is it just from this show?
Not right.
Is it just beach?
Just from talking to me?
Or me? Do we tire you out?
I mean, I do like. I mean, for one thing, I do a fair amount of work from home because it can be nice to be, to not be sort of distracted by stuff, right? You sort of go do all that stuff, and then often, I often work on, my parents or whatever will be like, so what are you up to, or you're not working this weekend, are you, or something like stuff, and I'll be like, it's like often on weekends, it's not. I won't like. It's that thing, that sort of yellow light. Like it's not. I'm not working.
Yeah, but you're
like the
not,
ratio of working to
really
like playing
working.
video games
Yeah.
goes up a lot. But I still like get a few. There's like a few things I was kind of interested in getting done.
Yeah.
But it's not like a productive day.
Yeah, I think I've had a couple of
That's my
days where
weekends.
it's like it's my day off, and then I see something hit Slack, and I'm like, oh, I should fix that, and it's something that takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I just fix it because I can fix it from home.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, the final story in the actual episode was talking about the new Steam controller.
Yes.
Right. So how many people look like they think they'd like that controller at all?
No.
I don't know. I'd be kind of interested to try it.
I don't like where the sticks are.
Oh, it's the
Like
it's
if you look at where the sticks are, I brought a controller. I knew we were talking about this story today, right? Like
I mean, it's a
most controllers have
it's a
the
place.
sticks in these too.
Well, it's PlayStation versus Xbox.
Yeah, but even then, those sticks are still down here.
Right.
Yeah.
They have their sticks like way up here.
Near the top, really? I
Yeah,
thought they
yeah.
were-
Because down here
Let's
they
bring
have
up
the
a
two.
photo.
They have the two touchpads.
It felt to me like the sticks were higher. They're
They're
as high.
higher.
They're not as high up as the buttons and the D-pad, obviously.
They are
But
higher.
because of the location of the pads feel like I would end up brushing them or end up having, like, I feel like if you pulled the pads off, that would be your standard Xbox controller or standard PlayStation
No.
controller.
They are a little higher.
They are
yeah.
higher. If you look at the article that we that's
Okay.
linked in the doc,
Yeah.
there are a bunch of pictures with other controllers next to it,
Oh, like a
and
side by
these
side.
are higher up.
Okay.
And I know for a bunch of people that might not matter. That they might not care. My hands are smaller.
Yes.
I already don't even like the Joy-Con 2 because they're slightly too big for my hands. I
Yeah.
know the rest of you might be overjoyed because the Joy-Cons were too small for the rest of the world. They were perfect for me though. So
I mean, I've talked about that before. That like, I have an Xbox controller that I use for my PC.
Right.
But I personally find the not just like the Switch controller, like the Pro controller or whatever, but I actually find the like Joy-Cons sort of weird shaped control where it's
Switch
sort
One
of,
Joy-Cons.
because it's kind of
where
like
it's more
straight
like
on.
so it's like square as
Yeah.
opposed to
Yeah, I've
wide.
seen,
I find that to be a more comfortable. I'm to be honest, the Switch 2 one works quite well for me as well. But
I've seen some. I don't know if they were like 3D printed accessories or whatever, where you can get it so the Joy Cons are more of an angle
Yeah.
when you're holding them,
yeah,
and that might be more comfortable for some other people. But
yeah, it does also have two. The Steam controller has two underneath button, like, or four, I guess, like one, like
Yeah.
two on each side.
Right.
And then it does have those touchpads. So
And it has a capacitive sensors in the grips. which
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is a thing I did not work into the story that I wanted to mention. There's a lot more stuff. Like when I said this thing is packed with interfaces, there's a capacitive handle sensor that when you're holding it in each handle, it can tell that you're holding the controller, even if you're not touching anything else. You're not touching a button or
Yeah.
joystick or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm being held by a hand, and then.
as people pointed out, it is very similar to the Steam Deck,
Yeah.
which also does have those higher up.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
gross.
So it will be interesting to see where you'll be able to like slide and keep your hands comfortably on the thing. I do think that the capacitive sensor to be like, oh, I'm gonna know where you're like they demoed it in the video as being like, for example, here is a way we found we can use this is that if you rotate the controller because you have gyro control built into the controller as well, and then you take a hand off of it, and then you reset to like the position you want it in, and you grab it again, it will not reset the gyro position because it will know that you have pulled your hand off to basically lock the gyro at a certain angle, and then you can continue to do this. So it'd be like if you were rotating a wheel in
Yeah,
game or
and I'm
something,
sure
using
there
the
are some
gyro to
people
do
this
it,
is
right?
like this is going to be really good for.
It's an interesting idea of like I was going to make reference to it and bring it back to but it still isn't like it still isn't the heart rate monitor that we never got for the Wii. Like I mean, And in terms of adding in additional sensors and adding in additional like interface types, I'm like, at this point, yeah, like this doesn't have to be the Wild West, but I think it is very interesting that Steam wants to keep trying to adapt and include new ways of you being able to interact with your game through your controller. That they're kind of building on what a lot of other people have done before as well, to be like, here's a whole bunch of different crap, and just, it's like the HD Rumble thing from the Joy-Cons. It's like, we don't know what you're all going to use this for, but we know that we can do something interesting with it.
The problem, though, is that unlike a PlayStation controller or a Switch controller, at the moment especially, this is just a PC controller.
It's very optional, yeah.
And so the idea that people are going to do like cool things with the tech is like, I will be surprised that there's going to be much in the way of stuff that isn't like, maybe Valve first party stuff.
Yes.
The primary reason for the primary use case for those touchpads is mouse emulation.
Yeah.
Which is what it's also used for on the Steam Deck.
Right.
So it can do cool things, but the chances of developers actually using that for something important is pretty low, probably.
If it became a thing that caught on as an idea to be like, oh, that's a cheap thing we can add to a controller, is to add just 2 capacitive sensors and one on either handle to be like, am I being held or not? And it's like, that could inspire other controller developers to be like, we want to add that functionality too.
Sometimes I just want to know if I'm being held.
Yeah.
That generally depends on the reason HD Rumble doesn't take off past a lot of Nintendo games is it's not on. It's if you make a game, you're making it for a series of other consoles as well, and it's not on other consoles.
Yeah.
So you're not going to necessarily spend the time on an additional thing.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the same. Some do. I know that a couple of indie games I think use it in some different ways, but if Steam has a special thing, maybe, because a lot of people just put their games on Steam, they don't necessarily put them on other things, but at the same time they might not bother. In controller Rumble, for example, like how far back do we have to track that to? But if you go back quite a distance to like when Rumble was a thing that was being added to controllers, and then it's like getting a Rumble pack for your N64, and people being like, well, that's just a gimmick and not everything's going to use it. It's like, sure, flash forward to today, every controller has Rumble. Like wireless and wired.
So like now that's something that can be reliably put onto
exactly. It's in terms of feedback, and there were some controllers for the PC that had that, like the Force. Remember the old Sidewinder force feedback controller?
Sure.
Big joystick.
I'm not saying that those things can't happen, but the PlayStation 5 controller has the thing with the triggers where you can make them harder to push or not harder to push, and not everyone's going to put that in their thing because it also starts to become an accessibility issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
whether you want to have that on or turn that off.
My favorite thing with Rumble, when I'm playing games on PC, I do have an Xbox controller on my PC as well. And it's usually plugged in, but I'll be playing a game mouse and keyboard, and then I'll get hit and I'll just hear
So even if you're not using the controller, you still have to use the controller.
It'll just like fall off the table.
Oh, that's funny.
You're like, if you're developing a game that has both mouse and keyboard and gamepad things, the detection of whether you're using mouse and keyboard or gamepad is already built in.
Yep.
Turn off the Rumble.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Super Nintendo 8-bit controller I got you had an update fairly soon after it came out to turn down the Rumble.
Oh.
Because the Rumble was too excessive. And it was, because I remember playing with it for a bit and I just turned the Rumble off because I was like, no.
Your hands started going numb.
It was also like incredibly loud.
Yeah.
There's got to be, I feel like it's one of those things that some YouTube YouTube hardware hacker would have done to like put some sort of ridiculously powerful rumble pack in a controller.
Yeah, it feels like the kind of thing that like jumps out of your head. Well, we've seen all those things where it's like the dude who makes the desk where he's tracking along and the desk starts bouncing up and down, and his chair starts bouncing up and down, and it's like it's clearly made to like it's doing way too much because it's meant to be like a funny video on the internet. But yeah, that kind of that idea of how far can you take it? Like what do you want to do with it? So anyway, they released the Steam controller now because it doesn't have RAM in it.
And they're like, it's ready to go. We're still figuring out how the hell we're going to do the Steam machine, which I'm assuming was like basically ready to go. And then they're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, they might be hoping for like waiting for stuff to come down or just there could be other issues that they're
supply
working
chain
on.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and Valve doesn't own a factory, right? Like, so they have to contract through a manufacturer somewhere. And chances are good what happened in this case is that Valve says, oh, so here's going to be the new Steam machine. And we're hoping for this to come, like this will be coming out in 2026. They're all like making a stance there. And then RAM starts creeping up and they're like, okay, well, we already bought time with the manufacturer. This is all supply chain again, right?
Yeah,
we already bought our time with the manufacturer. We already know that we're kind of lining up all the things that it is we need to buy in order to acquire whatever. We were just going to buy RAM as it was on the open market. I'm assuming. I'm sure there wasn't a case of, we're going to make 100,000 of these, or we're going to make like 1 million of these, and we've already bought all the RAM we need ahead of time, because they already know how much RAM they want to put in the thing. They would have decided that as they're like putting things out to tape, right?
Yeah.
They're already saying it's like we've got everything here. We know what the specs are going to be for this thing. We just haven't shared them all yet. So for them, it's like we've already bought time with the manufacturer. We're probably maybe even trying to push that time forward as much as we can with the manufacturer. But at a certain point, we either have to shit or get off the pot. Like we have to either say, yes, we're going to manufacture this thing, and yes, we're going to pay through the nose, and it's going to be very expensive to buy a Steam machine because we have to pass the price increases on to consumer, or make a razor thin amount of money on this thing. Or we have to pay a penalty to the manufacturer to be like, sorry for not manufacturing anything during this time.
They might just be holding off on price until they can actually do orders.
Because I mean, like the Steam machine has a long history, right? There have been things called Steam machines, or attempts at things called Steam machines, for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Steam Deck is the first thing that's really got some traction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of encouraged them to try again. But I think they are. I think they're leery of. It's like, if we're going to do the Steam machine again, we better do it right this time. Yeah. Like if we come out with the Steam machine again and we have to charge $2,500 for it, it's not going to work.
No, it isn't. And that's the thing. Doing it right involves making it at a price point.
And so it's better to not bring it out at all.
Yes.
Than to bring it out and disappoint and like bring it out and disappoint people again.
Yeah.
Because, already people are like the Steam machine, already when they announced it, people were like, haven't you tried that before?
Yeah. It's like we got lucky with the Switch 2 coming to market when it did, because it avoided tariffs are one thing, right? Obviously we know it's a problem, but it avoided the RAM spike, which is a harder thing to kind of dodge.
Yeah, they pre-manufactured a bunch of it.
Yes.
Which is part of how they dodged that, because I remember the day they announced it was also the same day a bunch of tariff stuff got announced.
Yeah.
And we didn't get price written in the video.
Yeah.
In fact, that seems almost like that's more of a trend these days, and I think you also have you have people not putting the prices of things in marketing videos, partially because who knows if they can maintain that price, but also partially because at that point it does make your content more evergreen.
It's true. Yeah.
Oh, we have RAM specs for the. Thank you, Lord Serrano. 16 gigs of DDR5 and 8 gigs of graphics DDR6 VRAM.
Of course, you got to be careful. If they wait too long, then then the specs will be too old.
Yeah, they have to respec it. Although it would be interesting if they said we're keeping the same spec, like it's like going to be a year or late or whatever, they have to end up paying a penalty and whatever. And most likely to manufacture, and then having to rebook time to manufacture, waiting for RAM prices to come down. It could just end up in a whole category of it's a low-end entry into this market. It's on the same level as what the Steam Deck is.
I mean, and that's the intention. And
we want to consoleize this experience.
And to be honest, I'm still. I mean, obviously it'll matter what the price point is and the specs and blah blah blah. But the Steam Deck, the Steam Machine is something that I'm personally very interested in.
They made it they're making it a cube, right?
That's the hope. Yeah.
Does it have a handle on it?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I'm kind
Missed
of
opportunity.
No GameCube, yeah.
I'm professionally interested in the Steam Machine.
I hope people make cases with handles for it.
Yeah, not just because of ChillPoint, but I mean, I think people are going to have skins and stuff for it too. Replacement
probably,
shells. But,
yeah.
But I'm professionally interested in the Steam Machine because I'm keen on the idea of rather than having to buy a PC to go in our office to actually run video games for whatever all the time. 98% of the PC gaming that goes on in this place seems to all just be coming from Steam in the first place. And it kind of makes me feel like, what if we could just buy a Steam machine for like $1,200 instead of having to buy whatever a PC is or build a PC or do whatever, and then have the worry about things interacting and having that kind of like we got to manage that versus here is an appliance that plays games on Steam and almost everything you guys want to play works on here. And that's an evaluation thing we'd have to decide because there might be a lot of stuff for watch and play that just would not work on the Steam machine.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to the coming up, which is that the Asahi Brewery is coming out with this lemon sour. Is it a beer?
It's what they call a chuhai. It's a alcoholic highball is what it is.
Okay.
A very popular category of drinks that you can buy in Japan, where they're just it's an alcopop essentially.
At least popular with Sephiroth.
Yeah,
it's very important that you understand that they put a lemon in the drink.
Yeah, it's
and that
not
they
just
spent 4 years working on this lemon tech so that you could eat a lemon.
It's not just
it's
lemon
supposed to be an
flavored.
edible lemon.
Yeah, there is an edible lemon inside.
That's
the
why
thing.
he's eating it.
There's also we got some translation from like Graham using his phone on the thing, and it was like, oh, there's like 4% lemon juice in the original, and there's 3% lemon juice in the plain, and it's like, okay, so there's an actual lemon slice and there's lemon juice, and that's how they're flavoring the alcohol. There's
something that I find particularly goofy about the ad because I think we showed this part in the ChillPoint because of course Sephiroth has his ginormous Masamune sword that's like 10 feet long and goes whah, cutting the lemon into multiple,
a bunch of it explodes into slices,
multiple slices.
Yeah,
which is like the Masamune is a very powerful sword.
Yes, but
that's like literally the opposite axis that it's he could chop a baguette in half all the way down.
If the lemon had been like cut in half, that kind of would have made sense, but it like exploded into slices.
Yeah,
it's definitely very like chic paired up with Evangelion to do commercials about razors, and it's like this is the same kind of thing and it's fun. It's like it's Sephiroth drinking a chuhai, and people are saying, how do you get the lemon out of the can? And I thought the whole lemon thing was this is a metaphor.
How do you get the lemon into the can? That's the tricky part. No.
And it looks like I thought the whole thing was a metaphor for like it will be like this thing tastes so good it's like eating a real lemon, like it has that kind of sour snap, right? And it's like no, there's a real lemon in the thing. Okay, the whole top of the can will almost certainly peel off.
Wow.
Yeah, that's an unusual step to take. It's not.
They grow the lemon in the can.
Oh my god, that's what took 4 years.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's a very goofy thing. I immediately sent that story into her Slack the moment I saw it because I was just like, this is funny.
Yeah, it's a wild looking thing, and I just think that like the science behind that of saying that first we had to figure out how do you put a lemon into the can. And we're like, this whole Skunkworks project at the Asahi Brewery is like, don't tell anybody what we're doing. And then we got to figure out how to like...
It's the like...
Will it live?
Everybody, I figured out how to put a lemon in the can. Why were you
Why?
working on that?
It's like there was a whole project. It's like, what? Like, we've been making Mirai lemon sour for years. We never had to put a lemon in the can. It's like, no, you don't understand. And
Can you put other things in the can? No, it only works with lemons.
Yes. So how does the lemon just live in the can? It's like, no. The whole top of the can will peel off. I'm like, well, God damn it, Gary, that's another problem.
Yeah.
Not Gary, Takashi. God damn it, Takashi, that's another problem. Is that how do we peel the whole fucking top of a can off because it's got to be safe, right? You have to have rounded edges and stuff, and you can't just put your lips on the edge of a really sharp, yeah. There's going to be salarymen who are like half drunk, who are like sitting on like a bus station thing, trying to drink this thing. You don't want them to cut up their mouth. So, yeah.
Anyway,
it's silly.
let's talk about some other things that didn't quite make it into the episode.
Oh.
Starting with so this is an interesting story that it's one of these stories that kind of was like big thing, and then over the course of a couple days kind of became a non-story.
Yeah.
Oh.
So and I
PlayStation one? Or?
Yeah, this is a PlayStation thing. And it might be, I think, I'll talk, like I said, it's a bit of a non-story, but it might be worth talking about in case you didn't hear that it isn't really a bad thing. So anyway, the story was that people started noticing that games bought after, I think, like the 15th of April.
So from the PlayStation Store.
There was a specific update that hit PlayStation.
Yeah, there's a specific update that hit PlayStation. So digital games that were bought from PSN.
Okay.
If you bought the game, downloaded it, and then went offline.
Oh, okay. The game stopped.
The game stopped working.
At what point?
Or
30 days.
The game had to check in every 30 days to re-up its
yeah,
license.
so that was the thing that people were talking about.
Yeah.
There were like a number. I think there's still a number of things floating around that basically tell you if you don't log in every 30 days, and their worry about that has more to do with game preservation than anything else. The other thing they also kind of typically say is like games you buy after this date doesn't sound like it's retroactive.
So yeah,
which was also a weird one.
That was kind of weird in that it was games you bought after a certain date, which I think it was like April 15th. Okay. So if you bought the same game on April 14th, it would be fine. And then April 15th, it would have this new version.
And it's that the PlayStation 5 itself has to call home.
Yeah.
It is I don't have to go open the store again. I don't have to do any of that login.
No, you just have to connect to the internet.
It's transparent to the user.
It's verifying the license essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
This is kind of like you can play NSO on a Switch for a certain number of days, and then at some point it's like, hey man, you really gotta talk back to the server so I know you still are authorized to do this.
That's because that has to do with it's verifying that you still have your subscription.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things with this is that for one thing, they found out that if, for instance, so it's like, okay, so if the servers ever, the people are like, okay, so if the authentication server ever goes down, we just lose the game.
Yeah.
Lose access to all our games.
Yeah.
And also, if like the the battery, if your clock battery messes up which apparently this is something that actually happened on PS4s, is there was an issue with their clock battery.
Okay.
And that then messed up and made authentication fail, and now suddenly you can't play any of your games.
And because it's something about like, it's not even a reset your PlayStation and then log in again. It's literally go get this thing replaced on your hardware. You have to open the damn thing up. That's
So this has changed.
So anyway,
changed, but like there's been more to the story since.
Yes. So that was the sort of original like, holy crap, this is bad.
Sure.
And everyone's like, hey, Sony, what the hell's up? Sony says nothing. So people are, continuing to investigate, continuing to figure it out. And the situation that sort of, after people have sort of experimented with it and looked into some stuff a little bit more, the situation is actually a little bit more nuanced. So it's true that there is a time limit on games. So basically, apparently the deal is they were having a problem with, so when you buy a game off PSN, there's a 15-day return window.
Oh, okay.
And they were having a problem with people. I think it's like 15 days, or I think the usual thing is like 15 days or
X number of hours.
X number of hours playing.
I see.
Anyway, they're having a problem with people. What you could do is you could buy a game, return it, and then go offline, to like take your system offline, and the fact that your game was no longer authorized wouldn't come across, and so
Play
you
it
could
for
and so you
however
can
many
keep playing your
days.
game.
Yeah.
So apparently this was a loophole that was causing some issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Clever.
the fix. So, and the other interesting thing is that has now been revealed, or has now been worked out, is that this isn't actually a change to any of this is not, nothing was actually changed in the PlayStation software. This was something that was actually already in the licensing system, but just they hadn't turned it on. Basically, it's like when you buy a game off PSN, it has a license that comes with it. And every license has an expiry field, which up until the 15th of April or whatever, was set to infinity. Like it was set to forever.
Right.
Suddenly they changed that expiry, so they started using that expiry field instead of 30 days.
Right.
Now, what it actually does is it's not that it has to check in every 30 days. It's that you have that version with that license with the expiry after 30 days.
Right.
After 15 days, so after you have passed the threshold of when you can return your game,
Yeah.
It sets it to infinity.
No, it will then do a check. It
Yeah.
has to do an online check. So that to make sure you're not offline.
Right.
It do an online check, and then you get the perpetual license.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
theoretically, that is all happening. Again, this is something that's all happening in the background. When you're normally playing, you wouldn't really notice any of this happening. But
Yeah.
so that's what seems to be the current situation, is that it's basically after 15 days they check,
Yeah.
and if you are to make sure you're still authorized for it, you haven't returned it, and now you have the perpetual license.
Weirdly, if people hadn't reported on this, almost no one would have even noticed.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna hand it to whoever it is at Sony that set up their whole database and everything in the first place to support this kind of idea. I'm like, that's actually kind of low key brilliant. Like, I have no problems with that implementation. Like it's kind of like, this seems like it's going to be very draconian. You're like, actually, it seems to fit with how the process is supposed to work.
And that's like I said, that's sort of how. This is one of these situations where it was like, wow, this seems really bad, Sony, and then Sony's like, nothing, and then first is nothing, and they're like, and I think they just said like, this is a misunderstanding, but then didn't really explain it.
No.
And so people kind of went away with it, and then sort of cooler heads prevailed.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think it seems like a pretty reasonable thing.
So if you buy a game 14 days before they shut PS5 down, you'd only get it for 15 days.
Well, you technically get it for 30, I guess. But
generally, when they do online store shutdowns, they don't just shut it off and then nobody can get their purchases, right? Usually you can still download your purchases for a while. The authentication thing is probably still running past that point. While that's technically a thing you could worry about, I don't think it's likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, and usually,
also chances are good that they're planning to shut it down. Most online entities don't just go, hey, by the way, it's gone tomorrow.
Or we shut it down yesterday.
Because if it's gone tomorrow, it's probably a different reason, and we're all freaked out about something else.
Yeah.
And like they shut down the purchasing, so that you can't buy anything new for a while.
Yeah.
While the servers are stopped. Anyway,
you're basically the hypothetical situation here of that happening is like, it is a single point in time where something could necessarily go wrong, as opposed to everything, like from this point
Right.
forward, everything that's happening through the existence of PSN would mean that, oh, this is always going to be bad for you forever. And it's like, no, that's
And
not at all what's happening here, which is kind of, I'll take that trade-off.
Yeah, and it is that, but it is that like combination of, obviously, the everyone's willingness to give benefit of the doubt to large corporations is sort of at an all-time low.
Absolutely.
It should be.
And we're also pretty sensitive about DRM and the ownership of digital stuff. And I mean, as Socratic Method is saying, apparently Sony's like AI chatbot wasn't helping anything.
Why? How could it?
Yeah.
There's nothing on the internet that explains what it's supposed to know about the whole problem.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we already have God's perfect method of distributing video games, which is I have a physical card that has the video game on it, and it is in my possession, and I can do whatever I want with it on my Nintendo, and Nintendo can't bust into my house and steal my Nintendo back yet. They can't do any of that stuff because it's like that's like I went to the store, I bought a thing, I put it on my console that has no connection to a phone line.
But what if you're like me and when you want to play a game, you want to play it now?
Also,
I don't want to go to the store.
As long as you never put that system online, because technically, if any system that goes online, if they really wanted to, they could probably brick it remotely.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like we had.
You're talking about the old days.
Yeah, but I'm saying like we had God's perfect idea for how this worked. Is that it's like you bought a thing at a store and it was largely understood that this thing belongs to you, and the emergence of the end user license agreement, and you don't own the thing, you only bought a license to use it as long as they want you to use it, and all that kind of foofara. It's like, right, we're already on the back foot as consumers. We understand that. So it is nice to see a thing that's like, oh, we thought we were getting our rights eroded even further. Not really. This feels okay.
Again, the people who were the most concerned about this were concerned more about game preservation.
Yeah.
Because if you are a person who truly does not want to do this kind of thing, you buy physical in the first place.
Yes.
If you can,
like
there are things that, like, I think even GameStop started, like, the moment this story broke, GameStop was putting out ads that were like, you buy physical games from us.
Yeah.
The problem is, of course, so many,
there's a lot of stuff that's not physical.
From a preservation standpoint, so many PlayStation, Xbox games especially are, either bigger or like the version on the disc doesn't really even work anymore.
Yep. The big thing that people brought up as an example was the PT demo that still only exists on certain PS4s.
Right.
And if that had a thing on it that could break, whatever, which I find funny because there are demos that do that. There are demos that restrict. Nintendo did a bunch of them for the 3DS era where you could only play them so many times, which was an interesting way to go about that. You could re-download it and start that countdown all over again. But there are ones that are timed.
Yeah.
I think Steam does that quite often for a lot of things where you can only play the demo for so long.
We live in a time where there are certain aspects of. I think everybody has a different threshold for like, what are you willing to subscribe to, and what are you not willing to? Where you're like, I need to own that thing outright.
Right.
In terms of if I'm going to have a piece of personal property that belongs to me, then it's like, do I want to rent this mug? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I come to work every day and this mug is waiting for me to put on the desk to act as whatever. But I own this bottle. Like, so it's like the mug is here. I can use this whenever I want to.
As long as you keep paying your $5 a month mug rental fee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can keep using that mug.
And there's that sense of
store.loadingreadyrun.com.
Yeah.
Get a mug for yourself.
Don't
Not
sell
this
those
mug.
mugs.
Not one of
this
those.
mug.
What mugs
Get
do we
a
have? We
different mug.
panelist mugs
We
now.
have the panelist
Get a
mug,
panelist mug.
which has been selling very well, and thank you everybody for participating in that. And also, if you do see things on the site where you're like oh, I want X thing, but you're sold out of it, do use the back in stock widget, because that's that is helpful to us to know you need to get more of these things in. And if there are things where you're like, boy, I'd love to have XY whatever, you can always mention that stuff on the Discord, like in lure content or something. Or,
Yeah, I mean, we definitely read stuff. Sometimes we ignore it because we don't want to give you hope.
Yeah, I don't want to start just telling you that it's like, oh, that could happen. It's like I'm not gonna go out of my way.
But you know, we generally read a lot of stuff on there.
But when it comes to like ownership versus subscription, it's like I don't mind that I'm subscribing to. I mean, I'm not paying for it. Heather is, but I don't mind that we're subscribed to Nintendo Switch Online for, the classic video game thing. I don't play any of those games. Like, just going to straight out say, I don't play any of the NSO stuff, the Nintendo Classic stuff that's on NSO. I haven't touched a single one in a very long time. I only really open them up so I can get the platinum points when they're missions for the week, right? But other aspects of that, it's like having the thing that backs up your save data. I'm kind of like that.
It's more for the save data for me.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like some of the other things that kind of come along with it that you can use. And I'm like, there's certain aspects of what am I willing to subscribe for? If I know I needed the money, would we turn around and say we would cancel our service there? Maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't. Maybe we'd cancel other things in our house.
I don't know, that one, to. I mean, we'd have to be pretty desperate to cancel that one because we split that among a lot of people. So it's actually one of the cheaper things we subscribe to.
But if I was like subscribed to the Criterion channel, which I really considered doing this month, because I started thinking like, man, I'd actually watched some of those old movies that are really good. I was thinking maybe I should do that, subscribe for a month and watch some movies and enjoy that. And I'm like, right, that's a thing I'm willing to do for subscription, where I'm like, I don't need to own a copy of.
I mean, before we got into account sharing with friends, I used to just subscribe to like Netflix for a month, binge a bunch of stuff there, and then if I wasn't really watching stuff there, I would cancel it and I would subscribe to a different service for a month. Provided I wanted to actually watch things, right? I just jump around because then I could watch different things.
It is a weird thing that like the different ways of paying for and getting involved in, like I used to look down on World of Warcraft as like, why would you pay $15 a month or whatever it is to play a video game for the rest of your life? Like, why wouldn't you just buy the freaking video game? Why don't they just make the video game a thing you can buy and be done with it?
I looked into how the Final Fantasy one works. So I'm assuming World of Warcraft works kind of the same, where it's like your stuff just stays there even if you're not subscribed to it, and you can just come back later if you need to. And because a lot of people use that stuff as like a very social hub, I mean, I definitely would probably pay $15 a month to belong to the social hub that all my friends belong to.
Right. And like, as I age, I realize everyone's going to have a different threshold for these things. And while I love the idea of, I think it would be great if when we wanted a thing to belong to us as a piece of personal property, that we could just own the goddamn thing. I want that more and more for so many things. But it's also like, I also get why subscribing to a thing is valuable in itself.
And I mean, something like WoW, I think, is fundamentally different, right? Because like owning the literal, pixels and bits that make up the game WoW doesn't actually give you anything.
Yeah.
The whole point of WoW is the servers and the larger community and stuff.
Also, owning physical things takes up a lot of space after a while. So
it's true.
It's kind of
it's true.
I go more in this half measure thing of I will get stuff digitally, and then things I'm like, no, I really want to own that. I buy a physical copy.
Like I want to
commit
well. to that. Yeah.
But like I own a car. I mean, we own a car, but I own a car, and I don't drive it that often.
No, but we have to have a space for it.
We have a space for it. It's but it's like I own that car, and it is mine. And it's my responsibility to look after it. But it's like I own this car that doesn't get a lot of use. A farmer has to own a tractor because he has to use a tractor to farm, right? But a farmer owns a tractor, and then he gets like bent over by John Deere.
Oh no, that stuff should be illegal,
right? Like, because to not be able to repair it, subscription services and all that kind of horse shit.
They've been trying to do car subscription services for a while.
Also, should be illegal.
Yeah, but like Ian has a subscription to Moto. Like he pays the thing for Moto, and I'm like, there's a value there where it's very seductive to me to be like, I don't use my car that often. What if I just didn't have a car, but I had a subscription to car service, and I could just be like, I can just go use a car by registering and like saying, I'm going to reserve one today. I'm going to use it for whatever, and then I can just put it back and be like,
that's just low key car rental.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing of like, where do you find yourself needing to have a thing? And when I was younger, having a car was the shit. Like you needed, like it was like so fun to have a car.
So annoying how that was a status thing.
It's different for everybody.
I just don't care about driving.
Yeah, it's fair.
Mostly because I don't trust every other driver on the road. They're all terrible.
Yes.
And then you have, it's just no. I
am the only good driver.
No. I mean, you're
Everybody
the one
else
I
is
don't
an
mind.
asshole.
I don't mind being in the car when you drive. I've had other friends that I won't get into a car when they're driving.
Speaking of physical copies of things,
Yes.
Yeah.
there is a physical version of 6 classic Rugrats games
There were 6
coming out. Limited Run is doing
Holy
a.
crap!
see.
I knew there were
Collection.
a couple.
Is doing
but
a
wow,
collection.
There's 6.
There are 6 Rugrats games.
All classics.
Yeah, every one of them more classic than the last.
Look, Rugrats is just a classic on its own.
As you can see, yeah, we got Rugrats Search for Reptar, Rugrats, the Rugrats movie, Rugrats Time Travelers, Rugrats Studio Tour, Rugrats in Paris, the movie, Rugrats Castle Keepers.
It makes sense.
The
they would've-
Rugrats are going to Botswana.
It makes sense they would have made games for the movies at that time period.
This is one of those. So what I found particularly interesting about this is, I mean, for one thing, it's it's 6 games on thing. Now this limited run, I believe, the Switch things are not
The game key card.
key cards.
But you have to tell.
Limited Run has learned their lesson on that one.
Well, you have to tell me if you're a game key card.
Yeah. I think the
but-
games are all so small that they can fit on the
Right.
smallest version.
I mean, these are like a bunch of them are like Game Boy Color games.
I
and
mean,
stuff,
I
so
think they said
those
that
are like less than a meg.
the ones where they didn't physically have them on the card were not part of the Run collection,
I see.
and also that was up to the license holders.
yes,
right.
We've been over
Yeah.
that in the past. I think that.
I just think we need to clarify that sometimes for the audience who maybe didn't watch our past episode
That's
or
true.
remember.
Yeah.
So what I find funny about this is, one, that there are 6 Rugrats games, and that this is so like to be frank, they were not well reviewed.
No!
like the word Rugrat. I think the most the best one is like a 7 on Metacritic, and they go down from there. Like, it's just kind of funny to see, like, this exciting set of all these beloved games that nobody actually liked.
No, Rugrats can get like 6+ games somehow, and yet I can't have a good Chibi Robo sequel. Like, come on.
This is like it's like the Ren and Stimpy set too, right? It's like they made 10 games. Did what? And it's like, sure.
Yeah, and this isn't the bullshit of like, oh, we've got like the
5 out of 10 games, and
or the like
the Sega version,
the
or
Sega
the
version,
Super
and
Nintendo
the
version,
Super
or
Nintendo,
like,
all the identical versions. These are 6 different games.
Yeah, I did see when I was looking for other things to buy from PNP Games because of buying Yakuza Kiwami 2 and 3.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. It's nice to know where you can buy stuff in Canada though. So it's like, anyway, I ran across the Disney Afternoon collection for Switch that is on pre-order right now, and I was like, "There's a what?" And
oh yeah, is this like the one that's like? Well, no, you said Disney Afternoon, so that's more. That's not the movies.
Tailspin.
It had DuckTales on it?
Chip
'Cause
and
I
Dale's
thought
Rescue Rangers.
I thought it notably didn't.
No, it showed a DuckTales icon. It showed Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. It showed Tailspin, and it showed a 4th thing that was on Disney Afternoon that is not Aladdin or The Lion King, because those are already in their own collection.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I want to say Darkwing Duck, and I don't think that's what it actually is in that.
Is it the new DuckTales?
I don't think it's Gargoyles either. That's my hope, is that they put the DuckTales remastered in there, but I have a feeling what it actually is it's all the old NES games that are just on a single Switch cartridge and bundled into an NES emulator of some sort. But I hope it has DuckTales too. But yeah, it was just weird to be like seeing more of those things of we just put a whole bunch of crap together, like a bunch of like really old versions of these games,
Included
and we're selling them
games.
in a collection.
DuckTales, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales 2, Goof Troop, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2, Bonkers.
Yeah. The first time that Goof Troop and Bonkers has been re-released anywhere. Thank you, Arrowland. That's bonkers to me. In fact, that is
Does Bonkers look like again? Oh,
I didn't even know there was a Rescue
right.
Rangers too. So
I remember that cartoon. It had that weird intro with the deep voice.
anyway,
other stuff.
Yep.
There is Power Wash Simulator 2 continues apace with tie-ins and updates.
Oh, such
Yeah.
as?
There's a new DLC pack that's going to be coming out.
Do you get to watch the Death Star?
You get to it's a tie-in with Star
essentially.
Wars.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's a Star Wars one.
It's not. I don't think you don't think you get to watch the entire Death Star.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, they did. The last one was Adventure Time, which came out, I think, in April.
And the Adventure Time one is a free one.
No.
I think no.
No, I had to pay for it.
Oh,
So if it was free, I need to talk to someone.
this is also a paid one.
Yeah, Star Wars is the free thing they added was a village with like tiny buildings. That was quite fun.
So yeah, you can wash off your
Just a bunch
This
of
one
crud.
is, I think, supposed to come out over the summer or something.
Why was the X-wing so black? Did they get space all over it? Like they had to wash the
Well,
space off?
I mean, they might give it. So in when I played the Adventure Time one, they
There's
had
like a surprisingly amount of
they
story.
had justification where it was like because you were dressed up differently. You're like the royal candy cleaner or whatever.
Oh, nice.
And so you've been contracted by Princess Bubblegum to clean things.
Okay.
And as you're playing the first level, which is the inside of Jake and Finn's treehouse, they have conversations where they messed up the inside of the treehouse on purpose as a test run for you.
Oh, I see.
And in this one, you are P0W2, a Class 5 cleaning droid.
Yeah. Like
How
they get
to-
really cute with stuff.
That's cute.
Yeah, I know my my take on this was somebody being like, "What the hell, Luke? What happened to your X-wing? Did you drop it in a bog or something?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that actually is what happened.
Yeah, like they do justify why stuff is dirty. Like the first game has like a big thing about like this volcano or something that erupted or went
Yeah,
off,
and then-
and that's why everything in the city is just like
And then there's
covered.
time travel and aliens.
Yeah,
and it gets
that's later.
complicated.
Yeah, the second one's great because there's cats that you can pet.
Yeah, I need to. I played the second one on Crossing the Streams,
Yeah.
but I need to actually. I haven't actually like got it to play it myself yet.
Oh, it's the nice thing I found was because I continued on after we did the Crossing the Streams for that, all the progress we did in Crossing the Streams was still on my save file.
Oh, nice.
So I didn't have to start from the beginning. So that was really nice.
Um,
I would have anyway, but you know.
Pragmata, the game everyone's been enjoying that. It's been very successful.
Good to hear.
It's the Donkey Kong Bonanza of Capcom.
Sure.
Except without the breaking of things, I think.
Okay, fair.
But yeah, same with the
There's a giant ape man and a child rides his
It's
shoulder.
true.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of the Diana and whatever his name is, the big guy.
Big Daddy.
Well, I saw that and then Big Daddy and
Little sister?
little sister, like
Yeah,
being
interacting.
like, hey, how's it going?
It's been some good fan art. Yeah.
But anyway, as part of the promotional stuff for that, the whole deal with it is that Diana, the little girl robot, is like she hacks stuff, right? It's part of this whole thing. Like, I think the mechanics is basically like
She has to hack
She
stuff
hacks
so that
things
you
to-
can actually do
to open
damage.
up, open up like
Because- yeah.
vulnerable spots.
Yeah.
And everything. Yeah. And so one of the promotional things they're doing is Diana is hacking other Capcom properties. So
Oh, that's fun.
so she's just showed up on she showed up on the Resident Evil Twitter page, being like, "Hey everyone, I'm Diana, the state-of-the-art Pragmata from Pragmata Game. I hacked into this weird Raccoon City sign and ended up here. Never heard of Resident Evil, so let's collect lots of data. It looks scary." Oh, Hugh told me to be so human. Yeah, but then later on, it's like, "So there's a company called Umbrella. Hugh gave me a parasol once, so it's so cozy to rest under that. Does Umbrella make fun things?" And then, "Oh no, they make all sorts of Nazi creatures. Zombies kind of remind me of the walkers that Hugh and I fight all the time." Just be like, "Umbrella? That sounds like a fun company."
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast talking about it, I think yesterday, and they say that sometimes she's got lines like, that's very like, she doesn't have to sleep because she's a robot. It's like, "You look tired. Why are you tired?" Like that very childlike, "You look like shit."
Yeah.
Kind of line where like kids haven't learned to not say things like
Yeah,
that.
they kind of live without filters. "You look tired." "Yeah, you're right. Why don't you sleep?"
It sounds like it's
Good question.
It's also, it sounds like the game's like between 12 and 18 hours for the story, which
Very digestible.
sounds like a good amount of time to me.
Yeah, it's fun to try out. Anybody remember Z-SNES or Z-SNES from back in the day?
Yeah, I like to call it ZSNES, and I don't know if that's right.
That's an emulator?
Yeah.
One of the best emulators.
Sure,
Yeah,
I'll take your word
it
for
was
it.
one of the first emulators that could do real, really good Super Nintendo emulation on relatively low-end hardware.
Yep.
And it has since been surpassed. SNES 9X is the other one that was really
That
big.
one I've used. Yeah.
Yeah.
SNES 9X was an emulator that has continued to kind of undergo development over years. And ZSNES was like, it hit a point and then stopped.
Yeah.
The people developing it just disappeared off the face of the earth. It felt like.
Yeah. And there's a certain point where it's like,
why would we?
You don't need because you're both. It's not like you're both or you're making, it's a fixed target you're going for.
Yep.
And it's like, once somebody has made one that works for every game, like, what more is there to do?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
That's the
let me
question.
tell you. So some of the original developers of ZSNES got kind of inspired a little while ago, and we're like, you know what? Let's take a look back at ZSNES and see what kind of interesting things we could do with current technology.
Sure.
So this just super ZSNES, Super Z Super Nintendo.
Yep.
Okay.
Has just been released, and basically they've sort of it's been rewritten from the ground up, and specifically around, especially around like graphics acceleration, so 3D acceleration and stuff. And you're like, 3D acceleration, what possible use could a modern graphics card have to emulate Super Nintendo stuff?
Right, because the Super Nintendo, it was all the 3D that you got from it, like Mode 7 and everything else. All of that was all pseudo 3D that was being generated on 2D planes and everything in the first place. It was like, this is not true 3D the way we approach 3D now. Yeah. So how do you use a modern graphics accelerator? How do you use modern how do you use a 5090 to help you do that?
So they've come up, basically they've gone past the point. We've had all sorts of like smoothing algorithms and CRT emulation things for a long time, but they're like, how far can you push this? And they've come up with all sorts of really interesting ideas. So this is so one of the things they're doing here is, for one thing, this is widescreen. You can see the darkened areas on the side. So
You
they've
can see how the sprite disappears when you go past the edge of the screen.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like they can make it widescreen. They put the dark areas on the side to show that this is like it's going to be kind of weird.
Yeah, makes sense.
But they can do it widescreen. But they can also do like look at this here. You can you can see it maybe better when it's paused. So they're doing this thing where they put a texture onto the sprites, so it's sort of overlaying different textures on different sprites.
Yeah, it's not putting it over the entire field of view, so the pipe doesn't get the same texture that the stones do, or even the background has like the foreground, not foreground, but it's like one background layer has a certain texture applied to those pipes, and then it also has like the background also has some texture on it too.
And it's a really interesting way of sort of making it seem as if there's more detail there than there actually is.
Yeah.
They can take Mode 7 stuff and actually turn it into real 3D render.
Yeah, the thing that they're doing with F-Zero I thought was interesting, because it's like this is really a big Mode 7 show off. Is the idea that what if all of the little discs on the side could actually have depth, like they could actually be rendered in a three-dimensional way, so that they look, as you're zooming past them, they all look like they're kind of like round domes a little bit, as opposed to just like a glowing circle. Does that add anything to the overall look or the overall feel of playing the game?
So this game normally doesn't look like you're in a weird pipe.
It does.
It does look like you're in a pipe, but it's doing the Mode 7 thing where you'll like
it's wrapping this around.
And so normally this would be like you'll be still limited by the resolution of a Super Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
So this would be like you wouldn't have this smooth lines here. It would be pixelated all the way down. It would be distorted so that it looks like this, so that the lines would be like this.
Yeah.
But it would be still all sort of pixely. Whereas now they can take the actual texture and warp the texture itself to be higher resolution. There was one other. There's also they have a thing set up for alternate.
You can see on the left-hand side there how they extended things up. Yeah, bumpers.
They have a thing set up for alternate musics emulations.
Yes.
But it's not just the graphics. The audio can also be enhanced. Take a listen for yourself.
MVG,
Yeah.
got it.
So this is
So this is a Gen 1
cool Castlevania music.
Super Nintendo game. This was a Super Castlevania 4 was practically launch title.
Audio enhancement enabled.
More voices.
Yeah.
With a lot of
it is going to be wavetable substitution. So Super Nintendo was all wavetable to begin with, and so
you can just put higher quality waves into the
better sound fonts and stuff like that. That's going to change that's going to change what you can do. So the question is like, okay, so then are you just changing out a sound font? Well, that's one thing. There's a lot of stuff built into Super ZSNES that is about modifying the look of something. They show this with Chrono Trigger, where they're like, hey, let's take Chrono's bed and let's smooth out some of the design of the bed.
And yeah, it actually has the capability to basically do sort of live patching.
Yeah.
So people could release a new tile set.
Yeah.
For Chrono Trigger or whatever.
Yeah, if you're like, I think we could do a better job of making that thing look nicer, and we can do it at like smaller pixel sizes because we're rendering something at a large thing. So it's like, oh, we can make a really high resolution type of Chrono's bed, so that when he wakes up in that bed looks amazing, right? The rest of the room could look like shit. And so
Just this one thing.
this
looks
is one
good.
thing could look amazing, and it's
Yes.
this is all early days, right? And so the question is like, well, with the audio thing, I assume we'd have kind of like what we would have with I'm trying to think of a good way to do this. You could probably get to a point where it's like, oh, well, we were trying to develop better audio versions of this. It's like, well, yeah,
Just re-record all the audio.
you can re-record all the audio rather than having it be like though playing back like something off of a CD. It's like, no, we could make with amazing sound fonts, and we could make with a lot of like dynamics changes and layer in more instruments and like do more, like add more effects and do all this other kind of stuff. It's like, right, this is what it sounds like when the orchestra plays it on this CD that I have, and we can bring all those things into this game. And so the plan was to launch Super Zed SNES with support for 5 games that would have enhancements in different areas, so that you'd be able to see when you play those games, oh, I see, when I'm emulating this game, it can look like this. I think it's really interesting as a project. I also think it's ultimately really limiting itself, because it's just in Super ZSNES that can do it, and that means it's just for emulation of this type, as opposed to like people who are fanatic enough to want to play a game to be like, I'm going to redraw everything and do all these things. I'm like, that will only work in this one emulator. That's not doing a ROM edit, right? That's not doing a thing you can distribute to thousands of people in the same way. They all have to be willing to play that game in this one emulator.
Of course, the other side of that argument is it's a lot less illegal
Yep. I guess.
than distributing a ROM.
Yeah, you're just sending out all of your changes and being like, hey, I'm just sending out a whole bunch of mods and stuff, right? So, and fair, Maricat says they get far enough and it becomes a standardized mod format. True, it would have to be something that's supported by more emulators. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing it. I'm just surprised that that's where they've decided to go, is to be like, we want to focus on high-res modding in this way. And yeah.
Anyway.
I think it's interesting.
It's Final Fantasy X's 25th anniversary. Final Fantasy X's 25th anniversary. Yes.
Did you play that, Heather?
10? Some of it.
Yeah.
I never finished it. I got stuck somewhere where I had to fight somebody, and I hadn't leveled up enough, and I hadn't really played a lot of RPGs, and so then it got tedious, and there was grinding, and I got bored.
Okay.
But I own like 3 copies of it, so I should probably play it again at some point.
That's right. Despite whether you want it or not, whether you want it to be happen or not, the original Final Fantasy X was released on PS2 in 2001.
Mm-hmm. PS2.
Yep.
Yep, that's originally what I played, and I was really bad at the whole Blitzball thing.
And
I didn't understand why that was there.
And in celebration, they've opened up a special
cute.
website, and they're selling some merch. Like, for instance,
Those are super cute.
these adorable Final Fantasy X little figures. Collect them all.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably
Especially,
wouldn't get all of them.
I like Oron in the back there.
I see people reacting in chat being like, holy shit, wait, FF10 came out 4 years after 7, which meant that basically they were on a thing of about every single year there was a new Final Fantasy.
They've really slowed down a lot.
Yeah, they really have.
Yeah.
And then they've also got the soundtrack on these sweet vinyl, custom colored vinyls, which is pretty awesome, pretty neat. It says they're planning on doing some more stuff. And although, as is always the case with these like anniversary announcements, everyone's like, remake, right?
Yeah.
So far, no. And with the way Square has been doing remakes, who knows what a Final Fantasy X remake might be. We already have Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2. So if we end up with a remake, there might be like 6 parts to it if
Yeah.
they give it the Final Fantasy VII treatment.
Yeah, I can't see them doing that with 10.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same cachet.
Not really, no.
I feel like if you're going to spend 7 years on developing a video game, developing a video game that's a remake of a video game you already made, especially one that you made in like a 3-year process, and now we're going to spend 7 years to remake it, I feel is a massive waste of time. That's just what I'm turning into, is that kind of person, I feel like.
I mean, the 7 remake is just a different game.
Yeah, but it's so weird to me because it just feels like if you're going to put in 7 years to make a video game, and I'm just picking a number out of the air, but if you're going to put in 7 years to make a video game, I would assume that you'd be like, and it's a brand new thing with a bunch of brand new ideas and a bunch of brand new whatever. Like, we have all these, and we want to spend a bunch of time bringing all these new ideas to fruition, as opposed to we spent 7 years and fucking like just a death march, not that kind of death march, but the death march of just like, I'm re-implementing all of the things to make sure Cloud's hair is fucking perfect. And it's just like, wow.
They've remastered 10 like
Yeah, they have
a couple of times.
Yeah,
and I
10's
think
already been remastered.
pretty sure you can get it on current systems. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really see them redoing that one for a while.
No.
And they didn't, and there even was controversy. They didn't even get Cloud's hair perfect.
Yeah.
There was a whole thing about that.
That's right.
You can get Final Fantasy 1 to 6 on Switch now in one collection.
Yeah, it feels weird, right? It's like when people talk about, it's going to be Zelda's going to have an anniversary at some point again. They always do.
Yeah, they did. It was the 40th.
Right. So at the 50th or whatever, by that time, Ocarina of Time will come out with a remaster in 4K or some crazy shit. I'm like,
No.
but why? Shouldn't matter. Like, I just.
Did you know you can ignore things that you don't care about?
I know.
So like you
and I tend to.
You don't have to care about these things.
There's so many video game systems I don't give a shit about, so I ignore them all the time.
You don't seem like you do enough of it, though.
I would say the flip side to that argument is something that I have certainly encountered myself is sometimes there are games that are very well thought of and really neat and were groundbreaking or very exciting in their time, but the technology has moved on such that they're kind of hard to approach now. And in that context, I think sometimes remasters or updates can be good. That's sort of sometimes you talk about like it's like it makes it look like you remember it.
Yeah.
As opposed to how it actually was.
I mean, Wind Waker was like that for me when I saw Wind Waker HD. I'm like, that's what the game looked like. They didn't change anything. And you look at the original, you're like, oh, I was an idiot. Okay. Paul, by the way, is talking about Tetris.
What, they made Tetris better?
I'm sure they're remaking it. It's a whole remaster.
I mean, Tetris is sort of at the point where it's not even remakes.
No, they just try to do different things with it now.
They just are keeping making Tetris.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you like Pokemon?
Yes.
Prove it.
I just how? Because I tell you, I did not
Name
do
15 Pokemon.
Oh, just 15? Okay. Pikachu, Squirtle, Charmander.
There is a retailer in Japan working on one of the things that they're trying to do to stop
Gengar.
doing people scalping Pokemon TCG cards is forcing people to do a 15 question quiz before they can buy a booster box.
I mean,
presumably it's not a hard quiz.
No.
Can you imagine being the parent who comes in who's legitimately just trying to get some Pokemon cards for their kid?
Well, okay, so this is to buy a booster box. So you have to be like pretty serious to get a whole box.
Can you imagine?
This is not just a pack.
Can you imagine us being in line at the Pokemon centers in Japan?
We would
all
give
the ones
them
we
all
went
the
to,
English names.
and they'd be like, you need to name all these characters, and we'd give them all the English names, and be like, we have to double check if these people are right.
So Bic Camera is the company. It's quite a big Japanese
pen company.
They have 45 stores across Japan.
Yeah, we were in a Beck camera.
And
I believe you, but
in order to buy a booster box, For one thing, they're limited to one per person.
Fair.
For the context here, Pokemon TCG has been having a huge scalping problem.
Everywhere.
And so you can only buy one. You have to complete this 15-question quiz based on the Pokemon universe. You have to have a big camera card.
A points card.
So
thing,
they can,
probably.
and that also means that they can track whether you like have already bought 45 at the other 45 locations.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
And then also, which is apparently something that's becoming even more common, is the cashier will remove the plastic wrap and open the box. So the packs inside are still sealed,
Sure.
but the cashier will remove the plastic wrap and open the box.
Thus tanking the resale value.
I mean, I have seen some videos where people have they have a sealed box of some sort, and they show it to a person. They ask them if it's legitimate, because you can get ones that are faked. And I have seen ones where they're like, okay, based on the way the plastic wrap on this is, I think it's been resealed. So there'll probably be cards in it that might be legitimate, but you won't have any good pulls.
Unfortunately, the sophistication of these things is at the point now where they can reseal in plastic. I mean, Kathleen opened a hilariously resealed and recrimped pack during a draft.
Oh yeah, the chaos draft thing.
The chaos draft where
we
somebody
grabbed
put all ice outs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
in
grabbed
a-
a bunch of
was-
cards from the Crack-a-Pack for
Yeah.
that. I believe my understanding is I saw a comment that said what made it really funny was Adam wasn't paying attention when she was clearly like, I've just got this pack of ice outs. And so when the thing came to him, he was just like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, why did I end up with this? The I do think it's interesting, like, because when I see like a box of sealed Wizards product, right, that the logo, they have the logo as part of the plastic wrap that repeats around it.
Right, there's a little bit of anti-tampering stuff there.
Yeah, they're just like, we make an effort to try to do that, and I'm like, that means someone's going to start reproducing that style of plastic wrap, and then having to
anything, whatever, what people,
it's an arms race.
What people can lock, people can unlock.
Yeah.
What people can come up with. The sophistication of some of these scalping and reselling systems are totally ridiculous.
When we went to some stores in Japan, the system of like, they would take the item and they would scan it and they would ask you to look it over to make sure that it was in the condition you wanted it in.
Yeah. They knew
was something. But then like when we went to that one Pokemon Center, we only bought the one Pikachu.
Yeah.
And they like handed it back like in this very like, this is very precious.
very reverent.
Take care of your Pikachu.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
and
cool.
I was like, neat.
It's really
I don't know, it's fun.
a lot of like, if you get a bag, then it's like, okay, well, we have this bag, and then we take the bag, and then we take off a piece of tape and we tape it and we tape it, and it's like, we're going to seal the bag, against like being able to stuff more things in the bag, obviously, but also like, we're going to make this thing look nice, that when you take it from us, that everything's been put in properly. And the very an attention to care that really was a little surprising, to be like, oh yeah, here is your thing, and we'll put your things in very gently and look after everything.
Yeah. I also just really like
they
the
know there's
practice
value
of
there for
like
people.
the tray that you put money on,
Oh yeah,
and then they take, and then they put your change on,
and they pass the tray back.
and then
to
they
you.
pass the tray back to you. There's something very like neat about that, where it's like, now I don't have to come into contact with another person's hands if I don't want to.
Oh God, when we went to the A&W in Okinawa, and
Yeah.
they had the massive machines, the massive cash registers that have like the LCDs on them and stuff, so you can actually see what your order is and everything. But these great big machines that are taking up most of the counter, I'm like, why are these here? Like, they're just so big. And then, but it is a thing of, oh, these things will spit change out at you, and they'll like, the receipt comes out, and you're like, all these kind of things. They're like built in a way to be like, minimize the amount of human contact of having to touch a thing and to take things from each other and to do all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, you're cooking my food. Like, you're gonna be in the back putting your hands all over my food. Like, it was very interesting, what what we do there. Because here it's like you walk up to the counter and it's just like I'm just taking change out of the whatever and putting it in your hand and we're good to go. And it's, very different feel.
Have you heard of a game called Sweet Hamster Days?
How do they spell days? Like
DAYS.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see.
No, I mean it didn't. That was going to change my answer, but I figured I'd ask since there are words that sound similar.
So this game, and I'm kind of sad to say that this game came up on the news stuff because it has now been re-allowed back into Steam after possibly being after being disallowed for, I guess,
Nudity?
adult content.
What?
So
Wait, what kind of game is this?
Explain it all.
It is a live action like dating sort of dating game, I guess, romance game.
I'm sorry, you said hamster, right? Like this isn't a pet simulator?
It is both.
It's an otome dating game, or like
the premise is that you're a guy who's come back home from school.
Okay.
You get into a car accident like you do.
Okay, sure.
And get isekai'd into the body of a hamster
Sure.
that is owned by these three sisters that I believe you previously had a crush on. It's them.
Oh, right. You said it was live action. I've already
live
forgot
action.
about that.
So it's them just like talking to you and like petting you and
Put the image up on screen so everyone can
Yeah,
can figure it
everyone
out.
needs to suffer
I wanna
along
be-
with me.
I want to be clear. This is not an isekai scenario because this is the same world. Isekai means another
Reborn.
world.
Oh, okay.
It'd just
This is-
be it'd
this is
be
a reincarnation or a body swap.
reincarnation. Yeah.
it's the getting hit by a car aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a little hamster, and then they're like, they're taking care. And
The three sisters with markedly different personalities.
yeah, one, whatever.
Well,
one
you-
is the
you-
smart one, and one is
Okay.
the cute one.
Yeah.
and one is the
You
whatever.
do know
One's the
that
One-san.
siblings don't all
Ara.
just have the same personality and aren't carbon copies of each other, right?
So this is the idea where it's a live action like romance. I think it's like a visual novel kind of thing in the sense that you like make choices and things.
Oh,
Somehow
okay.
the choices, apparently the story, according to the summary here, the story is that these three sisters have they have recently grown apart. There's some interpersonal conflicts, and you, as the
Right.
hamster, somehow can influence.
How-
And
Oh, so it's like It Takes Two.
How many choices as a hamster can you possibly have?
I don't know.
You don't have a lot of autonomy as a hamster.
Good God. I love this.
I'm curious about it, but the fact that it was dropped out from the store for adult stuff means that it's probably not going to go the way I want it to go, which is just being a hamster.
So it's full motion video.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the word romance in this is also like
I
what,
believe it's
between
romance in the sense of,
you like them, that's it.
and they, well, in the sense of, liking a pet, not,
So it's
You know what? I don't actually know.
No, it's
Fair.
liking a pet romantically is weird.
you need to express way more just a complete like I don't know what's going on I definitely don't have this downloaded onto my computer. It's not one of my hentai massage simulators.
You don't have any of those.
I don't have any of those. I don't even have a Steam account.
Sorry, as a side note, people telling on themselves in the comments, being like, I recognize
know
that
that
game
one."
and that game and that game,
Oh, yeah.
even though it's very pixelated.
So this is a lot like on Talking Sim when they were playing the live action, or I should say the full motion video ancient Chinese court simulator thing.
Oh,
I think that's kind of how this works. Is that it's
I don't know, like, because Paul said this seemed like a visual novel, I'm assuming that most of these pictures are stills.
I think it's I say
video?
visual novel in the sense that like you're sort of making choices.
Road Empress. Thank
Oh,
you.
and that's not a requirement for a visual novel.
I guess not.
Do we have a trailer?
Yes. This is we do have a trailer.
Because why wouldn't we show this off?
Oh, I don't know.
Hamta.
Hamta.
Side are you on?
Oh, you have to choose which of this. You're a hamster. How much choice do you have? I don't know.
Hamta-chan is so healing. I can't live without you anymore.
Oh, I hate this so much.
Come on,
Is
I'll
this?
give you a lot. So
This
listen
sounds
to what
like
I
the
say.
auto
Yeah, probably.
thing.
Wait, is this AI dubbing? Is this YouTube?
Like,
Yeah, it's probably YouTube.
Can you change it back to the...
Wait.
Hamta-chan. Hamtaku. Hamta.
No, I think
Is this literally the voice from the game?
I hope not. Yep, I'm already what better. I mean, not, but at least it doesn't sound like that. Oh, God. Yeah, auto dubbing on YouTube is the worst.
anyway.
Jesus.
I don't.
See,
Awesome.
here's me just I was like a game where you're just like now you're a hamster and you like run around being a hamster actually sounds kind of cool. I kind of like that
Yeah,
game.
if you describe it just like that.
Especially if you have like
You
a
don't
hat
know
trail
what
and
other
stuff.
dicks.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's the
No.
I'm guessing that the hamster aspect of this isn't going to be like a huge part of it.
Yeah. Also weird because
Although-
so you could make this cheap because a hamster stays in its cage generally, right? It's like you put a hamster in a cage,
Is-
who eats in its little ball. You only have to film in like one room.
Also, all these the idea. I also find the idea of all these actresses like having to sort of pat the camera.
It beats gravure work.
Anyway,
Yeah. No, you should just play 428 Shivu Scramble if you want to play an FMV. I'm sure there's other FMVs that are also good, but maybe ignore that one.
Anyway, I think that's the last story I want to talk about.
Okay.
Kind of great. Kind of
Yeah.
great.
I mean, there is another thing here where Crimson Desert, it's become very popular, and to the extent that a little bit like the a Claire Obscure thing that the Korean Prime Minister has done a big thing talking about how proud of the development team for Crimson Desert.
Oh, I see.
Well, you say like you don't mean that the Korean Prime Minister was also very proud of Claire Obscure.
No.
You mean the
For Crimson
French government?
Yeah.
Yeah, the French government was like, "We will knight thee," and so the Korean
Yeah,
prime
and-
ministers are like, "We're going to say some nice things about these people too."
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think he knighted the entire Crimson
I'm
Desert
sure
team,
they have knights.
whatever the Korean equivalent is.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, apparently they did get did get a whole bunch of gave everybody a big bonus.
The studio gave
all
a
of-
big bonus,
yes.
I think. Yeah.
It has now sold over 5 million units worldwide, and Pearl Abyss, the studio, has awarded all its employees with 5 million won, I believe.
Yep.
Which is approximately $3,400. So, yay for that. Yeah, also considering it's apparently like a 700-person studio.
Yeah.
That is a pretty good chunk of change. So, yay for that. I hear it is Crimson. From what I have heard about Crimson Desert, it sounds like one of those games that's like it's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's got so many mechanics and so many, because it's sort of taking an MMO, Black Desert Online, and turning it into a single player game.
Okay.
And so apparently it's cool, and it's
You have to sink some
surprisingly
time into it in order to
and surprisingly
get it going.
lot of
is
stuff.
what I've heard. Yeah, what I've heard is it's
has a
like
lot of
it
mechanics.
takes like a little bit to get going for you to get invested. And I think I've heard people say at least like around chapter 3 or after chapter 3 or something. It's not a game I've been looking into.
That's when the game truly
that's
begins.
just when, like, I have heard people get like kind of they bounce off it in the early game, so it takes like a bit to get into it.
I think the MMO pedigree does come through to some extent, which people can get turned off by, but it sounds like it's pretty sweet. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. That is all the news that I want to talk about today. If you haven't seen this week's episode of ChillPoint, you should do so. It is over at youtube.com/LRRVG. That is our video game YouTube channel. And if you become a member of that channel, you can get your name in the credits at the end of the episode of ChillPoint, which is pretty neat. But anyway, you can support us also on Patreon. Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, or the aforementioned store.loadingreadyrun.com, or any of the other awesome ways to support us. So thank you very much, and we will talk to all y'all later.